Okay, welcome, and we're on the beginning of the second paragraph. We did a little bit. Yeah, the Mishnah spoke about if somebody said maybe get if he said funny nechtav, but he didn't do the whole job. Let's go to the Mishnah a little bit. Said if he said only funny nechtav, or only funny nechtav, or funny nechtav kuloi, funny nechtav chetzia. That's the point. That's what we'll be speaking about today. Befanai nechtav kulo, befanai nechtam chetzia. That's going to be the point that's going to be discussed today. The other cases are that he only saw half the writing. All these cases. Yeah, I'm just recapping the Mishnah for what's the Geta today. We just said that if he said only befanai nechtav or only befanai nechtam, or he said I only saw half the signatures, means only one out of the two signatures. Yeah. Or if he said I only saw half of the writing, which the Gemara says means the second half of the writing is no good. If he saw the first half of the writing, the Gemara says it's good because he probably finished it lishma also. And the Mishnah continues about if only one of them said befanai nechtam is possible. Okay, so we're up to the bottom of the page. Amrav Chizda. So it says in the Mishnah that one person said, only one person. He said, I saw the ksiva, but I only saw half of the signatures. I only saw one signature. So it's possible because he didn't see two. We have no verification of the second signature. The Mishnah seems possible. The Gemara says three opinions now. If this the Rav, I can come up with Ravashi also, that they want to know what would be the din if there was some verification on the second signature. There was some other kind of verification. Rashi goes that the Gemara is not, they're not saying it chant in the Mishnah, not that they got it from the Mishnah, they're saying it on their own. The Gemara later on is going to discuss maybe do see something from the Mishnah. But in the beginning, we come to the Gemara. Rav Pista wants to say, I'll tell you something on my own. Not after that Mishnah says. Well, again, what does the Mishnah say? That I didn't see one of the signatures. So it's no good. The funny nechtam chetzia apostle, because he didn't see both signatures. I'm Rav Pista. Also possible. What if you have two Eidim that verify the second signature? The Shliach came and he said, I saw the whole writing and one signature. I didn't see the second signature. But then you get verification on the second signature. Of two Eidim come and say, we know the second signature. What would you say? Sounds good. The Shliach is Naaman on one of the signatures. That's the famous, right. That's the special, and then you have two Eidim. What could be bad? So if Chris says, no, it's no good. Now, of course, Eidim I believe. The Eidim is two Eidim, for sure Eidim I believe. But it means that the funny nechtam, that he said on only one signature, we're not going to accept it. Even though he would say it on both signatures, he would be believed. But if he says it on one signature, we don't believe him. My timer, or kula b'kiyam aget, or kula b'tekanas chachamim. That it only works if it's going to be one unit. That either the whole thing is going to be verified by Eidim, or the whole thing is going to be verified because of his special permission or authority, that we allow him to say b'fanei nechtam. But if he's going to only a half a job b'fanei nechtam, we're not going to accept this. New svara.
That has to be out of it.
What?
We out of it.
Whenever you have to say b'fanei nechtam, we're not going to when you have to. Whenever you have to say b'fanei nechtam, that's the first paragraph. In the case we have to say b'fanei nechtam. So if you only said on one of the signatures, and you have verification on the second signature, so everything should be great. You have to wait; them can't be better than that. And on the one signature, you have the funny nechtam. What's wrong? So if Chris says that only gave them the funny nechtam, only made the kanas chachamim if you use it on the whole thing. But if you use it only a half a job, and the other one is going to be a different source of verification, it's not good. That's what Chris said on his own, without any proof. Maskif la Rava. Rava attacks Rav Chizda. How could it be such a thing? That if the words that let's translate the words that will say the pshat. How could it be that if one person would say it'll be kosher? Now that you have two, it's possible. Now, what do the words mean? If you have one person, it'll be kosher. If you have two, now it's possible. What does it mean? Now, there's no question, l'chora, that the two Eidim for sure, l'chora nema. The Gemara can't budge that. L'chora, there's nothing to talk about. Two Eidim for sure is a good verification. The question was if his b'fanei nechtam is good on one signature, and if Chris said it's not good because you have to have the whole unit. They only believed him when he did the whole thing. If he did a half a job, they didn't give him a manas and a half a job. Yes?
That was our case.
That was our case. Rav was attacking something. L'chora, I don't have a good shot. I mean, it seems somebody. It's not. They say Rav doesn't agree to Rav Chista's father. So if he doesn't agree, so he should say he doesn't agree.
Yeah.
but he is asking some kind of a kasha. He's asking a kasha. And he says it can't be that if one would have said it is kasha and two say it's possible. So here, Rashi and Tosfos, they go into a subject which we have before in Daf Gimel. There was a question over there, came up in the Girsa and the Pshat over there. If the aid, the Shliach, who says B'fanei Nechtam, what if he says, I know the signatures. Not that I was there. But he says, Yadati, I know the signatures. I know these people. I know I didn't see the signing, but Yadati. Rashi says it's also good enough. And Rashi goes for the sugya like that. That here, if he would have said that I know the signatures is good. Tosfos says it's not true, and he proves that that's not true. That he has only never to say the funny nechtam, or was signed in front of me. He doesn't have. If he comes and says I know the signature, he's not better than anybody else. He's not. They don't give an amonis to the shliach more to say that he knows the signatures. He has to say the funny nechtam. So if you love the Gemara like Tosfos, so how are we going to learn that? How could it be that if one person would say the funny nechtam, it'd be kosher, which is true. If the one person, the shliach, says the funny nechtam is good, and now that you have two is possible. So what is the question? He's ignoring Rav Chisda's point. Rav Chisda said that we don't believe a person who says the funny nechtam only if he doesn't on the whole thing, both signatures. If it does not have a signature and you have a different verification for the second half, we don't believe him. We don't. The sense may not make sense, but he says this is the point that it has to be one unit. You can't do half and half, and it can't be half with the verification of Eidim and half with the funny nechtam. So Rabbi doesn't seem to be addressing his svara. He's not coming to say why he proves that's wrong. But he says, how could it be that if the funny nechtam would be kosher and not that you have two Eidim as possible? Again, the two Eidim is not the problem. Right. The problem is that they're not believing the funny nechtam. So he's not. So I don't see that he's addressing the kasha. I don't see he's addressing Rav Chisda at all. He says for sure two Eidim should be kosher. Okay, we know two Eidim is kosher. And at the one person that says the funny nechtam, it would be kosher if he said it on both signatures. How could it be that two Eidim are not good? Means how could it be when there are two Eidim, so it's not good on the other signature? If one person would have been good, if the person himself would have been good on the other signature, and now two Eidim come on the other signature, so I can't say on one signature. So if Chisda says, that's what I just finished saying. I said there has to be kulo with the Takanas Chachamim to go. So I don't understand Rabbi Kasha attacking Rav Chisda's father. He says that the sense would say that if a funny nechtam is good, so surely. And even if there's a funny nechtam on the other signature also, signature A, signature B, you have two signatures. So signature A, if you have the funny nechtam person, the shliach funny nechtam, it's good. And if he says it on the other one, for sure it's good. Now that you have Eidim on one of the signatures, so that the funny nechtam is not good on the other signature, what's the sense? So Chris said what the sense is. He says the sense is that he has to be a unit, cool up with the Kanas Chachamim. So Rabbi ignores his point. Yes.
Are these 80 Masira or the 80
We're coming.
The two 80.
They're neither. They're coming to verify the signature. They didn't sign, and you're talking about something else. Talking about the Eidim who sign or the Eidim who see the giving of the get. Right. We're talking about people who are coming to verify the signatures. There are signatures signed on the get. He came from Medina Sayyad. You have to verify the signatures. So two Eidim came. The Shliach himself said, I only know what. I know that the get was written before me and one Eid signed before me. And then we say, how about the other? No, it wasn't signed before me. I had to go out for a coffee. And then we have, so we don't have verification on. We don't have anything on this. So two Eidim come and say, we know this person's signature is good.
Oh, I thought the two Eidim come and say that they saw the second case.
No, they said we verify the signature.
In that case, if two Eidim came now and say, okay, this guy leaves after one signature, then two guys come and see the second guy. So that would good.
It could be that. It could be that. Are they shluch? The question is if they're a shliach also. Are they a shliach or not? Maybe that's part of the. Maybe that's the Mishnah before. The Mishnah will get back to it again. Yeah, they're coming to say the verification. We know their signatures. Regular signature confirmation.
They're not saying that they saw the second.
Right. They're saying that we know the signature, and that usually is good. That's why He's kind of that you get verification. That's how usually any contract that you have signatures and someone says, you have to come and verify. I know this man's signature. I know the signature. I recognize the signature. The signature verification.
I certainly hear of the Chisda. I don't know what goes, but
why do you hear of Chisda?
Because one aid is responsible for the first signed signature, and the two aidim are responsible to verify the second signature.
Okay, so
and not one goof.
What's the problem? Why is it not good?
It could be that something happened in between that the second group doesn't know about.
What's happening? We want to know, nothing's happening. We're talking about whose signature is it? We just want to know if it's a good signature. So nothing happens in between. So you have two signatures.
You know what? It could have been there was an argument in between. And
What does an argument have to do with anything? We want to know who the signature is. We want to know if this is, it says on that Yosef and Shimon. We want to know who's that. If it says Yosef and Shimon, so he said, I know the signature. I do business with him. Every day I get a signature. I know who he is. And that's a regular way to verify a contract. And it happens to be a special cool over here that one person is willing to say before nechtam. And he says, before nechtam, one of the Eidim was signed before me. That's okay. We should accept it. And two Eidim come and say we verified signatures also should be okay.
the second.
Yeah. So why is it not good? So Rav Chisda says because they only made this takana if you use it in full. You can't use half of it. You can't use it in half. Okay. Elam Rava. Rava is going to argues with Rav Chisda says no. If two people would come with a second signature, it would be good. But he also agrees there's a case that's not good. And it sounds like he's Elam Rava, like he has to say something. Really, nobody's pushing him to say anything. Everything could be
Did you
kosher.
really have Messiah? Because if not, I don't think it's in Svar, like Master Case says.
The Gemara is going to have a couple of examples today of other times where you say maybe it has to be only one unit. And the Gemara is going to compare things that we wouldn't think that is comparable. The Gemara is going to give 4 cases of this forward that maybe it's only one unit. And we'll see the 4 examples. Maybe it's going to be make you happier, maybe not. I'm not sure. But Rava says I also agree that there's a case that's possible. Even though you might think it's kosher, I don't agree to the first case. If this is case, Rava says this will be kosher. If you have 2 Eidim on the second signature, and he says putting nechtam on one signature, that will be good. But Rava says I do agree that there's a case where it's not good. Elam Rava afilu amid beis afilu hu ba'acher midin al chasim isad sheini pasim. If the shliach comes and says putting nechtam on one of the signatures, that the signature wasn't there, but I wasn't there, but I know his signature. I verify his signature like a regular aid that comes and says I verify his signature, and then you get another. That's not a good enough. That's only one aid, but he gets another aid. Somebody else also recognizes the second signature, so you would say it's good. What's the problem? He said funny nechtam on one of the signatures. On the other signature, he doesn't have a funny nechtam, but he's not worse than any other kind of aid, and he's the aid echad on the second signature. I know that signature, and somebody else comes also says so. So what's the problem? Still is possible. Even though if there be 2 Eidim coming, then it's kosher, obviously. But if you have Huva Acher, that the Shliach himself is also, besides being a Shliach, he takes off his Shliach hat, he puts on his verification hat. I know the signature. And the first one I was there. The second one I wasn't there, but I know a signature. And somebody else comes and says, I also know a signature. Then it's possible. Why is it possible? My timer. Became because if this is going to be good, really it should be good. Really it should be good because the funny nechtav has one signature and the other signature, he's like any aid that he says I know signature. Have another aid. What's the problem? It really would be good, but there's a gzera because it might become confused with regular verification of a contract of signatures, and over there is a case where it's a problem. What's the case where it's a problem? Let's say, Rashi says the case is talking about, let's say someone comes and says, this is, how do you verify a regular signature? Usually you have to have 2 Eidim. They come and say that this is Plony's signature. What if the guy himself comes and says, this is my signature? Oh. I don't know why you don't just tell him a sign, like they do in the bank. Sign again, we'll say if it's your signature or not. But he doesn't have to do that. If he comes and says, Eksav Yadi, he says, this is my signature. So that's a good verification, even though you don't have 2. One, the person comes and says himself, Yosef and Shimon, they signed over there. And he comes and says, I'm Yosef and Shimon, I signed it. So that's a good verification. What if you have 2 Eidim signed, and one of them says, this is my signature. And as far as the other signature, I recognize it. I recognize that signature, and I'm an Eid Echad on the second signature, and there's another Eid Echad. So what do you say about that? Regular contract, a deed of sale, and you need the verification of the signatures. One comes and says, this is me, and I also recognize the other signature, and someone else comes and says also that he recognized the other signature. Should be good. Why not? Why is it not good? What?
Both of those weren't direct witnesses. Is that what?
We're talking about verification. I'm not sure why we're in verification
mode.
We're in the Bezdin of verification. We come and say we had a Bezdin and we
But
come.
we have to have verification.
We need verification.
We need 2 Eidim.
So there's 2 ways to get verification. One is to get 2 Eidim, and one is to get the person himself that says this is my signature. And now you have a
I
common.
even have 1 person.
Well, yeah, and if each aid comes and says this is my signature, it's fine. And yeah, but if here the case was that one person came and said this is my signature, the other person didn't come to say this is my signature. but we have two Eidim that are saying that it's his signature, and two of the people, one of those two people happens to be the other Eid. So he comes up and says, Zek Savyadi, Vizek Savyadi Fiat Chaveri. This is my signature, and the other one I recognize it. And you have another Eid also that recognizes it. Is that good? So it should be good. So far we say that it's good, but the fact is that it's not good.
And Rob agreed with it.
Everyone agree.
We're talking about Rob is coming.
We're talking about,
jumping in.
no, we're going to get to Rabba soon. We're talking about regular shtoros. Rabba said that the case with get is not good because it's chlufa b'kiyum shtoros. Now we're talking about kiyum shtoros. So Rashi says, we could point out Rashi over here. Where is that? Here it is. Zek sav yodi v'zek sav yodo shel chaveri. When the staff echad ben hashokim ol lahad sav yad hashem ames. So it says in Ksubis 21 that it's not good. Why? If he says this is my signature, it's good, and the other signature we have two Eidim, him and somebody else. Why is it not good? So Rashi, the Gemara says because 3/4 of the money is being extracted with the power of one Eid. Means the Gemara says that the person says that you have to have two Eidim. It has to be that both of them have equal power in affecting whatever the test about finding about. So here, when you have a contract. That only the verification came between this Savyadi Vizak Savyadi. Usually when you have each person comes and says, this is my signature, okay, equal. Or if you have two Eidim come and say, this is signature, this is a signature also, it's equal. But if you have one person coming and saying, this is my signature, that's already half of the testimony, half of the power of the testimony is him. And then on the other one, you have him and another Eid. Means you have to have the combination of two Eidim in order to testify in the second signature. So altogether, you got 3/4 of the power is on him, his shoulders. So that's not good. That's not valid. By money, I'll say by money. By money, you can't have that the money is going to be extracted 3/4 on the power of one Eid. And only the word naki. The word naki means subtracting. Naki river, take away a quarter, which means 3/4. That 3/4 of the money is being taken out on the amount of one Eid. So the Taisa Rosh, just to make it simple, the Taisa Rosh says that this only applies to money. By other documents, like a get, there's no problem. Even if you could have such a case where more of the verification is being done, 3/4 of the verification is done by one Eid, it's not a problem. It's only you did in money. So by get, let's say, it really should be good. If you have Zek Sav Yodi, Zek Sav Yodi, and this case here where you say, there's two, that's to point out there are two cases where one person is believed to verify. One is if he says this is my signature, and that applies to any kind of a verification. If this is my signature, and by get, they made a special halacha that b'fanei nechtam, the shliach is also believed, even though it's only one person, he's believed to say that this was signed before me. So Rav is saying that this case we have to make a gzeira, that even though really, if the aid says b'fanei nechtam, one signature, and the other signature was not signed before me, but I recognize it, and somebody else comes and says, I also recognize it, it should be good, but it's similar to it's a gzeira to other shtaros, because if you have, here's coming out that 3/4 of the verification is being done by one Eid. But the shliach is saying, this is my signature. I'm sorry, I take it back. He's saying that this was signed before me, and we're going to trust him. Really, you should trust him. You should trust. But then it's going to be that half this verification is done by him, and then he's also partaking in half of the verification of the next signature. Altogether, he got 3/4 of the verification. And really, it should be good by a get, because there's no such chesron. But you make it, we said it's no good because of gezeira atu shtaros. If it's going to be good by get, we'll say it's good by shtaros also. And over there is a problem of extracting 3/4 of the money through one Eid. So therefore, we said it's not good by get also. And it comes down according to this that also by get is also not good, even though it should be good. There's no problem by etzem by a get that more verification should be done by one of the Eidim. The 3/4 problem was only a problem by money. It's not a problem by get. But because of gezeira to money, we parcel it also by get. And how would the case be possible? Either this is my signature and this is the signature of my friend, is a case of doing 3/4, and also the case of b'fanei nechtam chetzio, and I recognize the other signature is also a case of 3/4 taken out by him. So Rabbi says that it's not good because of gezeira to money. Make sense? It's good. So my time, a second line. Also, they're going to confuse it with other kind of verification of documents besides get by regular money. And 3/4 of the money is going to be extracted by the mouth of one of the Eidim. So this is the case where Rabbi says, I agree this is not good. The first case, Rav Chisda said that they had two Eidim on the other signature. that he says, Rabbi says is good. But if you have not two Eidim, you have he is one of the two Eidim on the other signature is not good because Xera that you might do such a thing also by regular verification. And over there it's not good by money, here it's also not good by get. Masafar Rashi attacks Rabbi. Nika midi dilu masik le iu lekule dibura kasher ashta the ika chad badei puzzle. The words say that if he would have finished off saying his words, it would have been kosher, and now that somebody else is there makes it worse. So the words are difficult. The way we're learning Tosfos, we're not learning Rashi, we're learning Tosfos the whole time. So the words are not so smooth over here because it says that if he would have finished off saying whatever he has to say, it would have been kosher alone. But now that somebody else is also there, it's possible. The words don't flow so well because the case is that it only knows. It says b'fanei nechtav one signature. He does. It's not like tell the other guy go home. If the other guy goes home, we only have one signature over here. We do need him. You need him as the aid only knows one b'fanei nechtav, and he has the verification. I know the signature of the second guy. So you do need the second. You do need the other aid. The Gemara sounds like if he would have said it by himself, it would have been good. If he would have said what? If he would have said b'fanei nechtam, it would have been good. If he was there, I saw both signatures, it's good. So therefore, if there's somebody else put together with him, is it possible? So the question doesn't flow so easily according to Tosfos. According to this whole Malach was saying, the question is not so clear. Why Rav Ashi says that it can't be worse. Rabbi says that it's worse because there's a question.
If this guy would say that I signed it, this is my signature, and I saw the other's signature, that still wouldn't be good. He'd still have his signature.
Again, what's the case you're saying?
This guy comes and he says, that's my signature.
Yes.
And the other signature, I saw him sign.
That's not much the next case of Rav Ashi now. And what do you think in that case?
Then you also need a second aid.
You what?
You'd also need a second aid
Why?
to verify.
Why?
Because
He's testifying on the.
he's testifying on the second signature
But he's believed if he's a shliach believed to say b'fanei nechtam. If it would be regular verification documents, you have to have two. But here he has a special power. This by gitin, there's a special power for the shliach to say b'fanei nechtam. We believe we need always one person. So he said, if say b'fanei nechtam on both, they'll be good. Here he says even better. I'm one of the Eidim. So it should be good.
It should be good.
Elam Rav Ashi, that even that's not good. If this is like this, the most far to say that it's good.
Okay, nice.
And so far, Rav Ashi says in the cases that you said is not possible. The first case of two Eidim is not possible. The first case of him verifying together with somebody else is not possible. Elam Rav Ashi, afilu Omar Nihu Eid Sheni possible.
He signed. He said, "I'm the signature on the first, and I'm the aid."
And b'fanei nechtam on again, please. I'm
the one who signed.
One of the signatures. I'm one of the Eidim.
And I signed. No, I signed.
That's I was one of the Eidim.
So I was one of the Eidim that signed, and I'm a witness to the second one.
The what? Witness to the second one or what?
The second signature.
A witness that what? The second signature?
That he signed.
That somebody signed it, not that.
Right. Yeah, but not that he knows it, not that he's verifying the signature, but I was there.
I was in front of the guy who signed it.
And
age Shani.
I knew age Shani means I'm the second aid. Here I am. I'm the second aid. It's me. That signature, that's me.
Well, what was the first one?
The first one was that he says b'fanei nechtam. I saw him. It was signed before me, and that was the regular way of saying b'fanei nechtam. Usually he sees both Eidim. Here he says, I happen to see both Eidim, but the second one was me. He didn't say b'fanei. He says the first one was signed before me. The second one is me.
So what's the difference between that and I signed the first one and I saw the second one?
That's the same thing.
That's the same thing.
The same thing. Yeah, I didn't mean, but it's not that he's verifying the other one's signature. He's saying b'fanei nechtam.
I see.
My timer or kulu b'kiyam baget or kulu b'takanas chachamim. He seems to go back to the same svara as Rav Chisda said in the beginning, that it has to be a package deal. B'fanei nechtam only works on the whole thing. So he seems to agree to Rav Chisda again.
Right.
Even though the Gemara sometimes like Rav Chisda said it's no good. Rav said it should be good. This is the case that's no good. And he made a gzera because of a chlufe. Then Rav Ashi says that should be good. In the case that it's not good, is the biggest extreme chiddush that it's not good. Is that true? Am I saying right? No. Rav Ashi is considered a smaller chiddush. It goes down. This is considered the smallest chiddush that it's not good, and Rav Chisda is the biggest chiddush because the first one was Rav Chisda was two Eidim. Even two Eidim is not good. And the Rav's case was that him and another one testifying on the second signature was not good. And the last one is saying that I am the second aid, and that's not good. So the Gemara looks at like Rav Ashi is the biggest Chiddush apostling.
But if
As Rav Ashi, Rav Chisda is the biggest Chiddush apostling. I'm sorry. Yes,
it's in front of Nechtam,
on
she
everything.
has in mind the because that was this.
Instead of saying I am the second aid, let him just say both signatures were signed before me. It's the truth. You can't catch him on a lie. Both signatures happens to be I signed it, But if he says that, maybe I don't know. If he would say that both signatures were signed before me, is that good? If Nissen is saying, why not? He said on everything. That's a nice chap. That maybe that would be good. And the Gemara Rav Ashi saying it's only no good because you're utilizing a different power. You're using a different power. Either verify it or so you're not saying you want to say something else. You're saying that I am the aid. That's another way of that. I am the aid is another way of saying Zek Savyada. This is my signature. So you're using a verification code, and you also want to use the B'fani Nechtam code. You can't do both of them. It seems very similar to Rav Chisda. For some reason, the Gemara sounds like Rav Ashi does not agree to Rav Chisda. Does not agree to Rav Chisda. I'm a little confused now, but if no one else is confused, it's fine. But Rav Chisda said that two Edom is not good, and the Gemara is going to look at him as he's the biggest Chiddush, and it sounds like Rav Ashi is not going to argue on that. Is going to argue on that. Rav Ashi is going to hold that Rav Chisda's case is not good. Just to get all the cases over here, we have, I can't get it all, I couldn't get it, I can't read it. But there's Rav Chisda and then Rav and then Rav Ashi. And Amar Aleph, Rav Chisda said even if there are two other Edom verifying the other signature is not good, Rav said that case would be good. But if he's an aid that's testifying as a regular aid on the second signature and you have somebody else, that's not good. And Rav Ashi seems to say maybe that's also good. The case that it's not good is when he says, I am the second aid. And that's the end of the three opinions. And now the Gemara is going to try to prove if there's any kasha on Rav Chisda. The Gemara is going to attack Rav Chisda now. And the Gemara seems to say that Rav Chisda is the biggest Chiddush. Just talking it out, it doesn't make sense. Rav Chisda says even if there are two Edom on the other signature, it's also no good.
Because you have
Also the same spot. I don't really see the difference between Rav Chisda and Rav Ashi. Both of them say the same svara, that it has to be one unit. You only use a package deal. If you do the funny enough on the whole thing. So I would think that Rav Ashi should agree to Rav Chisda also. And the Gemara doesn't sound like that. The Gemara is going to sound like Rav Chisda is the only one who said that case is possible. So I'm a little bit lost in the sugi now that I say it, that I spoke it out. But I'll just try to continue the Gemara. Just try to continue reading.
Rav Chisda is going to.
Rav Chisda is the biggest machmir. One, he says the biggest chomer that even the case all of them are not good. Probably. Rav Chisda holds all of them are not good. Again, because he holds, his father would also say, so for sure they would hold that all the Rav Ashi and Rav Chisda should hold that Rav case is also not good because it has to be all kula b'kiyam maget. I'm not sure why Rav Ashi doesn't agree to Rav Chisda. If he says this far, that has to be kula b'takanas chachamim. So it's not kula b'takanas chachamim. You have two Edom on the other one, so you're not utilizing the takanas chachamim by itself. So based on the next Gemara, I see that the Gemara is going to say that Rav Ashi does not agree to Rav Chisda. Think, and I'm a little bit not getting it. So if we continue to now, the Gemara is going to go back to our Mishnah and bring a proof to what we're talking about. It says in the Mishnah, which we're going on the whole time, that's the Mishnah. Rashi introduced that the Amoram were not going to explain the Mishnah. They were going to say on their own what would be possible. The Mishnah says that there was one testimony only on the one of the signatures, so it's possible. And they're saying, even if there is some testimony on the second signature, either there are two Edom, or him and somebody else, or he says this is my signature, they said it on their own. And now the Gemara is going to try to be medayik from the Mishnah if we can derive anything from the Mishnah. Either chetzi or hechidam. What's the case? What does the Mishnah mean? When the Mishnah says that there's only the funny nechtam on one of the signatures, what the case did the Mishnah mean? What kind of verification do we have on the second signature? If there's no testimony on the second signature, and the Mishnah is only a case that he said, only one signature was signed before me. Is that a chiddush that is possible? I would say simply, of course, that's not a chiddush because only
No, it's a half. What does it mean? No.
One of the signatures.
If one of them is missing altogether,
Must be missing. I didn't see. you have two signatures on the document, but I only saw the first one.
One side.
So for sure it's not good because you don't have verification on the second one. The Gemara is a little bit more fancier than I'm saying it. I would say simple. If you don't have verification on the second one, for sure it's not good.
Of course.
Because you don't have verification on the second. It's simple. But the Gemara goes a little bit more fancy. The Mishnah says that if one person said b'fanei nechtav and one person said b'fanei nechtav, that's also no good.
Yeah.
If that's not good, then surely if you don't have a verification on the signature, it's only no good. I would have said without that. I would have said it. For sure, you don't have verification on one of the signatures. But the Gemara says if this case is no good, one person is testifying about all of the writing, one person is testifying on all of the signatures, it's still possible. So surely if you don't have a verification on one of the signatures, it's surely no good. Is it a question that if you don't have a verification at all, one of the signatures, for sure it's possible. So therefore, that can't be the pshat in the Mishnah. When the Mishnah said that he only said funny nechtam chetzio is possible, it can't mean that there was no verification at all. That wouldn't be a chiddush. There must be some chiddush in the Mishnah. So what is it? Ella, okid the Rava, okid the Ravashi, or the fukim of the Rav Chisda. So Rashi says that Rav Chisda is the biggest chiddush. Rava and Ravashi are small chiddushim.
Lafuke is too.
Lafuke is to exclude. That the Mishnah seems to exclude Rav Chisda's chiddush. Because he says it's possible even if there are two Eidim. Rav and Ravashi are not so much. That's how the Gemara seems to present it over here. That's why I was confused that according to Rav Ashi, I would have thought that he agrees to Rav Chisda because Kula became a get, but the Gemara says no. That the Mishnah is telling you Chidushim. It doesn't say any much more in the words. It just says that something is possible. It must become to tell you a Chidush. So the Gemara says that's only going to be the small Chidushim. Like Rav and Ravashi, they're considered small Chidushim. But Rav Chisda is a big chiddush, and you can't just because the Mishnah had one extra ribu. It's like an extra Mishnah that's unnecessary. So you say it must become to tell you something. So he tells you the smallest chiddush, like tafasta ribu lo tafasta. You can't get a big chiddush. So the Mishnah is only mashma that it's coming to include either Rava or Ravashi, but it's not coming to tell you a big chiddush of Rav Chisda. So it seems Rav Chisda is wrong. If the Mishnah would have agreed to Rav Chisda, it should have had another. It should have told you more. Rashi has a problem over here that between Rava and Ravashi also one is more than the other. So why doesn't it ask a kasha on the one that's a big more? If you have three levels of chidushim, Ravashi is the smallest chidush, Rav is more maybe, Rav Chisda is even more. So then you could say you have a kasha on 2 out of 3. Let's take the smallest chidush. The Gemara doesn't do that. The Gemara for some reason puts together Rav and Ravashi is the same level of chidush, and Rav Chisda is like a super chidush, and the Mishnah doesn't say it. So the Gemara is attacking Rav Chisda. Rav Chisda is going to say that the Mishnah is not going to tell you any chidushim. The Mishnah is an extra Mishnah, and it's not coming to medayik anything. Doesn't say anything. It's true that it's extra Mishnah, but it just throws it in, even though it's no chiddush. And don't ask any kashas on me as if the Mishnah is coming to tell you chidushim, and it only said a smaller chiddush. It didn't say a bigger chiddush. According to you, that you want to find chidushim and everything. The Mishnah beginning, the opening statement, that he says, I didn't see any of the chesimas. I just saw the writing, I didn't see the signatures. Is there any chiddush over there? You're going to tell me something? There's no chiddush over there. That's the way the Mishnah talks. It tells you things that's not a chiddush, that even if it's not a chiddush, not only this, even this. So it starts off talking with issue which is not a chiddush. That it comes to tells you extra Mishnah which is not a chiddush, and don't ask me any kashas. That's the end of the sugya. And it comes out that Ravashi and Rav Chisda, both of them say a new svara that it seems they don't agree to each other for some reason. I don't know why, but both of them say "Okula b'kiyam aget, okula b'takanas chacham." And even though they did give an amonis to a shliach to say b'fanei nechtam, but only if he does the whole thing. And if he's doing half a job, even though you have testimony on the other signature, it's still no good. Do I understand it? No. The Svar would say, this is good, what's the problem? But it's a way, it's Hagdora, and a way to make a Tachana Sachanim. It only works if you take a package deal. You can't take half. You can't do it on half. And that's the end of the sugya. And it seems that we pass on like Ravashi, that, where did I see it? By Afilu Omer, Anihu Eid Sheni Apostle, I would have thought that he agrees to Rav Chisda also. The Gemara doesn't sound like that. We have to look at the halacha still to see more. But the Gemara now, the rest of the Gemara today, is going on a tangent. Mamash a cruise. We're going to go on 4 cruises. All kinds of cruises about this concept that it only works as a package, one as a whole unit, and just similar to what we said, that you can't say half. I'll use the kanas chachamim halfway, and I'll get another way to get the verification. Oh, kulo b'takanas chachamim, or kulo or not, either everything or nothing. How they say in Yiddish, or the gore or the garnished, everything or nothing. You can't take half a job. So if you want to use the kanas v'chomen, you have to use the whole thing. If you're not using the whole thing, you can't take half either. And now the Gemara is going to talk about subjects which are unrelated to gitin and the whole concept over here. And maybe this will help us to find this concept that sometimes you only use a package deal, you don't say the whole thing. And I don't know, I don't really understand the comparisons of all of them, but let's try. So now the first leg of the cruise is going into Hilchos Mechitzas, how to make a partition. We have that in Shabbos and Erev, and how to make a partition. So what do we know about a partition? Just a little bit of introduction. A partition is 10 tefachim high. You have a mechitza 10 tefachim high. How about if you have a dish 10 tefachim deep?
Yes.
Also, yes. Also, if you have a dish 10 tefachim deep, there's also a mechitza 10 tefachim. Let's say that you have it's 4x4, and 10. So same way, if you have a pillar that's 10 tefachim high, 4x4, it's a rishus yachid. If you have a ditch which is 10 tefachim deep, 4x4, it's also rishus yachid. Or if you have a leave like that. That's the case. So we know that a mechitza is a good partition, and also a dug down wall, which I looked for a word in ArtScroll, embankment. That the wall of something which is the bank. So that's also considered a mechitza. How about you want to do half and half? Amrav Chisda, Gidat Chamisha, Mechitza Chamisha. The Gidat is going to mean the embankment, mean the base part which is dug down. And you have a mechitza which is built up.
It's a little confusing. It sounds like you're in a ditch.
What?
A gidud.
Are you in the ditch?
Down is a little problem.
Okay, so
What's a gidud?
a Gidat,
Here's the land. So is something going down or is it going up?
going down.
The normal terminology is if the land is terraced. Terraced.
So then,
It's like steps, like big steps.
right. So when you're on, so now Taisus points out that if you're in a bore, let's say, that
The bar
has
itself is
what?
Bar itself is
The bar is 5 tefachim deep. Bar 5 tefachim deep, and then you built up another 5 tefachim, and you're in the bore. So Taisus brings a Gemara that says, "Perish." That's not a question. If you're in the bore and you see 10 tefachim straight, roll up an asara, that's no question that it's going to be combined, and you have 10 tefachim. But the case would be, let's say you're on a mound, you're on top of a mound which is 5 tefachim high, and then you built up another 5 tefachim. So when you're inside the mound, you don't see 5 tefachim. Outside, you see 10 tefachim all around. Someone walks around you and makes a compass, they'll see 10 tefachim all around. But you on top, you only see 5 tefachim. But if you look over the cliff, you'll see that it goes down 10 tefachim. So that's the question. The mechitza, which is 10 tefachim high, and the embankment.
This is the way they have it here. Is this? They have it like there's street level and then you have to go up a little. So the house is up 5 tefachim from the courtyard is 5 tefachim.
You're in the
higher than
courtyard.
street.
Yeah, you're in the courtyard, which is above the street, 5 tefachim, and you built up a mechitza, another 5 tefachim. So is the courtyard going to be a rishus yachid or not? So if the mound itself would be 10 tefachim off the ground, then it's not a question that the 10 tefachim off your whole
From the
concept is 10 tefachim off the
You
ground.
see 10
Yes.
tefachim, yeah. That's like.
And even though
Or-
inside you're inside the courtyard, you don't see anything.
You don't
Everything
see
was up.
5
But you look down, you'll see 10 tefachim down. And what?
People are gonna say you have a problem, there's no machines around your property, something could fall down.
Uh-huh. And if you would be a mechitza 10 tefachim, it's also another question. What if you have 5 and 5? Could you combine the two types of mechitza? One is digging down and one is going up. Could you combine the two? So that's why the Gemara brings a similarity to half the takanas chachamim, the kula b'takanas chachamim, kula b'kiyam maget. So here also similar. Is it similar enough to understand that's a comparison? I don't know. But the Gemara is bringing it in as a comparison. The Chisda himself said, Gidul chamisha mechitza chamisha emes tarfim. They don't combine. It's not going to be a rishus yachid. This courtyard, the mound or the courtyard, that's 5 tefachim off the ground plus another mechitza 5 tefachim, doesn't combine to make it a rishus yachid. Ashe o kula b'mechitza o kula b'gidul. Only if all of it is going to be built up or all of it is going to be dug down. But Merema argues, Dorish Merema, not like a Chisda. Gidul chamisha mechitza chamisha. Yes, mitzarfen. It does combine, and that's the halacha. Vilchasam mitzarfen. So that's the end of that sugya. That was the first leg of the cruise.
He says that they do,
They do combine.
and that the house here would be in a private.
Would be a Rishis Yachid, and that's
the
the
courtyard would be.
would be a Rishis Yachid, and that's the halacha. That's how we paskin. That's the Shulchan Aruch, that it is mitzvah, and even though you're on top and you see 5 tachim and another 5 tachim is dug down, that's a good Rishis
So,
Yachid.
by the way, so you see, there's different than by gitin. Everyone agreed there was something. There was one case that's a problem.
Rabbi didn't agree.
Oh, he said. It was,
Rabbi didn't agree. He just said the case of the chalufa. He had a case about Zera, but he didn't have the case. He didn't have the problem about that. So we're gonna paskin before you do pass like Rabashi. That not everybody. Rabbi didn't agree, but Rabashi did say, "Oh, kula b'kiyam." Get the last case. He did say, "Oh, kula b'kiyam." Again, where was Rabashi? Afilu anu sheni. Oh, kula b'kiyam. Get a kula b'kiyam. It sounds like a chista also, but here we don't pass like that concept. Here we say that give the chamisha, b'chitza chamisha, yes, mistarim. New leg of the cruise, a new case about.
So on this one, did we have is this like a package deal or not?
We pass you don't need a package deal. We pass that.
This is like half and half. It's
Half
good.
and
It's
half, and
not
it's
a
still
package.
good, right? It's still good. Vara Ilfa. Ilfa asked the following question: Daim Torah lachatzon or in Torah lachatzon? When you wash hands, the tilas are dime because you do it half at a time. We don't know what he means. The Muslim trying to figure out what does he mean. What does he mean half at a time? Hey Chidami, what does he mean to ask? Maybe he means to ask. I said the words half at a time. Half. Could you wash hands in halves? That's literal translation. Could you be matar your hands? Of course, by halves. What does that mean? Does it mean to say the commercial betray meravias? Maybe you had a revius of water and you pour it onto 2 people's hands. Not only one person, 2 people's hands.
Trim revis.
Betray 2 people.
Oh, betray 2 people.
The word mushu means
One
to wash.
revis.
The word mushu was to wash. That 2 people washing for 1 revius. And you're going to say that's called each one got a half only. Maybe that's what he means. Could you do the tilas yadayim in halves? Means that you did a tilas yadayim with a revius, which is good for 1 person, and you use it for 2 people. It went on 2 people's hands. So each one got only a half. Is that good? That wasn't the question. That couldn't be the question because the Farish Mishnah. But we learned the Mishnah. That from 1 revius you could wash hands, not only 1 person, even 2 people. So it's Farish Mishnah. Ilfa wouldn't ask such a question. It's Farish Mishnah that you could do that. People have a problem because a revius is not so much water. A revius is a small kiddush cup, the real kiddush cup.
Yeah.
And you can get to wash on 4 hands.
We
like
think we're
that.
being machmir when we use it for 2 hands. Our own 2
people
hands.
people want to use it for 2 hands. Wouldn't use it for
They
1 hand
wouldn't even
either.
use-
They won't get it for 1 hand either. And here it says you can use it for 4 hands. And it says it even more. You can use many hands. So what's happening? How do you do that? Okay, anyway.
you want to say give answer.
So you did your
Oh, that's you did
you
your answer.
said that you're allowed to rub your hands.
Oh,
to
you
get
put a
all the
little on
water
and
all
you rub
around.
it and the water goes everywhere.
That's what, okay, but I didn't get confirmed this shot, but somebody said.
You couldn't have hands over hands though.
You could.
Well, by the time it
Technically,
goes down,
Yeah,
it will be tummy.
no, it's also questions, it's one to deal, it's okay.
I'm sure you know my
The question
You
only
could have like
Yeah,
2 hands here and another guy underneath.
Yeah,
And he
you wash,
pours the
everybody's
revies
kosher.
and everybody's kosher.
Yeah,
Because it's one pouring.
yes. Technically, if you can have enough water or not, I don't know. We'll leave that question as a question. A suggested answer was that you're allowed to wash, rub your hands around, and that's gonna make it go over. I don't know if it's true, but the halacha technically is that you could have somebody pouring, and you can have 10 people that have their hands all under each other,
Uh-huh.
and it's all kosher.
Okay.
But anyway, what the Gemara wants is that Ilfa wouldn't have had such a question about washing in hands because it's Farish Mishnah that 2 people can wash from 1 revius. That's not the question. Okay, try another shot. Maybe the case is that he washes 1 hand at a time. You have to wash, which we always do that. We wash 1 hand at a time. Maybe you have to wash both hands simultaneously. Maybe both hands have to be washed simultaneously. And if you wash 1 hand and then the other hand, maybe it's not good. And maybe that was Ilfa's question. But now, no, for sure it's good. So if you wash his hands, 1 of them with the tilas yadayim, 1 of them with putting into the mikvah. That's also good. You can put both hands into the mikvah. You can do both hands with the tilas. You can do 1 and 1. I think one sees that as being not simultaneous. Why? Maybe it is simultaneous. Kasha, that's the kasha. But the Gemara sees that this is a case that he's not doing it simultaneous. For sure, it's good. So also to wash your hands, you have to wash both hands for the tilas yadayim. Even if it wasn't simultaneous, it's okay.
That's also good. Then that's the Farish.
That's fair is good, and it wouldn't be a question of Ilfa. Ilfa wouldn't have asked such a question.
Uh-huh.
Third possibility. He washed half a hand at a time. You have to wash the whole hand. whatever the shear is to the wrist, whatever the shear. Let's say nowadays people do till the wrist. Machlokes, people do till the wrist. So he did half a hand. He didn't get till the wrist. Then he does a second half. So altogether we wash the whole hand, but he did it in 2 hands. Is that good? Good question. It happens a lot. Sometimes people they watch it, they see they didn't get all the way, so they do over there.
Well, that's they do over there, they do it again.
They did the whole thing over again. But could they do only over there?
But if you can rub your hands like this, then it seems like that's obviously that's okay. He wouldn't even have to pour there. He could just put the water.
But it has to be, did it
Oh, but it
right,
has to-
maybe it has to be right away. But if he did a half and then another half, maybe even if you can allow him to rub his hands, it's only simultaneously as the water's coming in
Oh,
right
maybe
away. But if he took time, you
They
know,
dried his hands.
after 30 seconds, he dried it. Okay, that's gonna be more now. Could you wash half a hand and then wash the other half a hand?
Okay.
That's the word. Beltachamashi palga the other. He washed half a hand at a time. No, for sure it's not good. But Biana, I guess that Ilfa would have known the Rebbe Biana. I'm not sure why Ilfa. I don't know when they lived exactly. They seem to live at the same time. Ilfa and Rabbi Yochanan and Biana seem to be pretty close. But
The data behind it's like something famous.
and Ilfa would have had a question. Okay,
So
anyway,
we have 2 examples of for sure it's okay, and the last one we have someone says for sure it's not okay.
right,
And so we don't know what his question is.
right.
Okay.
So the Gemara now finds that is still the water is still moist, and it's true. If it would have been dried, he washed half a hand, he dried it. Then he washed the second half of the hand for sure it's no good. That's what Rabbi meant. But if the
Oh.
water of the first half is still moist, when he washes the second half of the hand, maybe that's what Ilfa's question. Maybe that's good because it's still here a little bit. The first washing is still here. The fact that it's still moist.
Here it means moist, it does not like a tefa.
So the word it doesn't mean tefach. The word tofech means that when if you touch it, you'd get wet. That's called tofeah. It's a level of moisture.
Uh-huh.
But I think that the word literally tofeah,
Moist, they have to pass some.
but also it's going to be right. So that's called tofeah. That's called
Moist.
tofeah.
Moist.
That it was
Moist
moist,
is once-
enough that you should make your hand wet.
That's amanas
And then
latviah.
no, then we touch the next hand or touch something else that's going to make that. That's called manas latviah. Tofeah means that it's moist enough that it should make your hand wet. The thing that it touches it makes wet.
It's going to make
And that-
something else wet.
Something else wet.
Yeah.
So first the Gemara says tofeah, and the Gemara thinks that the first half of the hand that was washed, if it's still moist, I'll just call the word moist, as if the word tofeah means moist. I think it's how Ashkol translates it. It might come from the shorish of hand, but it
I
means that it makes moist. So then, moist enough to make something okay. But and that's the question. Even though Rabbi said that the half handed alone is not good, that's only if the first half got dried. Then you do the second half, it's surely not good. But if the first half is still moist, when you do the second half, maybe it's good. The Gemara says no, moist is nothing. That doesn't help anything. That's not enough to be considered there. Well, tonight we looked at the Mishnah. We're starting today's daf. Anitzog va'akatafris u'mashke tofeach eno chibur lo l'tumah v'lo l'tara. That's a Mishnah in Taurus, and it says there are 3 things that's not considered a chibur. One is nitzog, one is katafris, one is mashke tofeach. We only need the third one.
A
Mashke
keyboard
tofeach.
means
It's not considered connected.
connected.
Lo
Yeah.
l'tumah v'lo l'tara. Lo l'tumah would mean that if
What are the words?
the word nitzog, Rashi says means a flow. Means when you're pouring something from one cup to another cup, the nitzog is the flow, and means is the top connected to the bottom through the flow. Does the
Oh,
flow
is-
connect the bottom? We had that once upon a time.
No, isn't it also a cliff?
A tzuk.
Huh?
A tzuk. Tzuk is a cliff.
Demonstrating.
Nitzuk.
Tzuk.
This is a nitzuk. It fell off the cliff.
Good.
Okay, I got confused by a picture I saw here. Okay, I'll look again. So what it means a flow.
Flow. And katafris means if it's coming down a mountain, it's coming down a slope. It's coming a stream or coming down a slope. So it's very similar to the case of nitzuk, but it's not a pour. It's coming down the slope. Is it considered connected? The bottom and the top of the flow is it considered connected?
Both of these cases, they're not connected.
Eino chibur, it's not considered a connection. And the third case, mashke tofeach, if you have liquid which is moist, is not considered a connection to any, doesn't make it connected. The 2 things have to be connected.
The-
The amount of moisture that's called tofeach is not enough to make them considered connected. Lo l'tumah v'lo l'tara. Tumah will mean if one thing is tummy and it's connected through either a flow or a slope or a running slope, or mashke tofeach,
Mashka tofek means it's wet
It's
enough.
moist liquid.
Yeah,
That's not enough to connect the two things. Making something tummy or making something Torah. Torah would mean you have a mikvah, two mikvahs that each one is not a shear, and you have a mashka tofech connecting the two. It doesn't make them considered one mikvah. So the kasha is that it says mashka tofech is not a connection. So too here, regarding washing your hands. If you wash half a hand, then it's only tofech, and then you wash the second half of the hand. It's not going to be considered that it was all connected and they were washed at the same time. That's not enough. Moisture, the level called tofech, is not enough. That it should be considered a chibur. That's also a mishnah. So it's
we're
true.
saying that like in this picture, it has it that if it's tummy on the bottom, it's going up. It's
Yeah,
not going to make it tunnel,
Right.
even if they're touching.
Doesn't make it tummy, right? The bottom is tummy. You don't say that the
It
top is
doesn't say,
tummy.
you don't say that the top is tummy, even though there's a constant flow.
Right.
Okay,
It's a flow, but it's not a halachic connection.
it's a flow, but it's not a halachic connection in either of those cases. Oh, I
Either-
see. And the fact that when it says a mashka tofech, that means
That's connecting two
continuous.
things. It's connecting two things. If there's mashka tofech, not the first two cases of the flow and the slope. Another case, mashka tofech, it can be on the same level. Flat.
oh, that's
There's mashka tofech.
You have two puddles and there's
and there's a
mud in between the two.
And it's tofech. Mud which is tofech.
How,
Is that enough to be considered one? As far as one tummy is the other one tummy, or if one is two half mikvahs, you want to connect them mikvahs together.
I see.
So it's not considered a connection. So too here, the Gemara says Pashut, that if the first half of the hand, which was washed, now is only tofeach, that's not going to be considered that it's still here when you're going to wash the second half, that it should be considered all washed.
Okay,
Well, shviach hadika tofeach latpiyah. That's why we would in the case of tofeach amnas latpiyah, that it's so moist, it's very moist, that if we'll make something else moist enough to moisten something else, that's very moist. So then maybe that was Ophir's question. Maybe that case is going to be considered
we thought it was just moist. Now we're saying that it's moist enough to make something else moist.
right.
Okay.
But let's get the words.
Extra moist, yeah.
It's so more, yeah. But the point is that
Tofia of the hot fia.
Right. But usually I also thought that tofeach means that it's moist. But I mean, moist means that it's moist enough. Moist means that it's moist enough to make something else. That's again. And
That's
tofeach
always.
that's what tofeach always means. Tofeach means that it's moist enough to make something else wet. Tofeach amanaslat piach means that it's so moist that it'll make something else wet enough to make something else wet.
Oh, okay.
If this area is
Yeah, I
wet,
get a third one, okay.
if it will make this moist, that's tofeach. If this could go on and go to make something else moist, that's going to tofeach amanaslat piach.
Okay,
And that's a lot of moisture, extra moist. Maybe that's what that was Ilfa's question. Maybe the Netilas Yadayim that he did half a hand, and it's still tofeach lat piach, and now you wash the second half of the hand. Maybe that's good. Third line, and Namitanin, that's also a Mishnah or a Brisa rather. It's not a Mishnah; it's a Brisa. There's no Mishnah like that. Tofeach lat piach is yes a chibur. You know, so that is good enough. Well, first question, it's also a Brisa. The answer is maybe that Brisa, which says tofeach lat piach is considered a chibur, is not legabe Netilas Yadayim. It's legabe mikvos, and doesn't mean to connect it to mikvos. It means the next case of Rabbi Yehuda, which is going to talk about something called good achis. People know the next Mishnah because they learn the seventh parak of mikvos for Yortzeit, and it's a pretty common Mishnah. And this called the concept called good achis. Rabbi Yehuda. And he's okay. He got a mikvah 40 so. He went out. A second one goes in. Tanakama says Rishon Tohar, but Sheni Tamei. The first one's okay because he had a mikvah 40 so. The second one doesn't have mikvah 40 so because the first one took something out. He took some water out, so it's not a 40 so anymore. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Rabbi Yehuda says if the first one he went out, but he's not completely out. If he went completely out, Rabbi Yehuda's masking that mikvah is not 40 so. But he says if the first one is still, his feet are still inside the mikvah, even though his whole body's out of the mikvah, the second one is also tahor. Why? Because the water that's on the body of the first one is considered connected. That's called good achis, halachic. And that, the Brisa says that it has to be tofeach lat piach, that the liquid on the man's body, which is standing out of the mikvah, on top of the mikvah, it has to be at least a certain level of moisture. It doesn't have dripping water. but it has to be a level of moisture, and that's enough that you're going to say gurachis. But it's only together with the concept called gurachis. Gurachis means drag and pull down. So as if halachically the water on his body gets dragged down, it's on his hair, it's on his head all over, it gets dragged down into the mikvah. It's instead of the mikvah is 40 so. But that then we say tefech lat piach. If the body is not going to be tefech lat piach, so then it's not going to be considered dragged down. And if it is, it is. But he still won't see lagav netilas yadayim, and therefore Rav Ilfa's question was a valid question, and the curtain closes. We don't know the answer to Ilfa's question, and it comes out that it's a question. Could you have?
What happened? Oh, this was all with. Oh, this Tofiv Lahai.
Yeah.
Is only about a minute.
That's where the Brisa says that it's considered a chibur, but it's not going to be a proof to Ilfa's question. Ilfa's question also was this, tefech lat piach, but we don't have the raya. We know, first we figure out
the nitzok, we don't know.
that by nitzok it says over there eino chibur, and if it's tefech lat piach, we don't know if the mashka tefech lat piach is considered a chibur or not. We don't know. We just know one thing, that for sure it's good by a mikvah according to Yehuda, that says that good achis, it has to have the condition of tofeach lat piach, that much we know. But we don't know anything else, and therefore we're not going to know the case of Ilfa either, that he wants to know by Netilas Yadayim, if you wash your hands half of a hand, and it's tofeach lat piach, can you still wash the second half? Is it good enough? Or you have to wash the whole hand over again? So we don't know. And that's the end of the sugya. We don't know. It came in because we find something about two halves. That's the sugya about doing half and half. I'm not sure if it's exactly similar to the case of us doing kula b'tekanas chachamim, kula b'kiyam aged, but that's why the Gemara brought it in, and it comes out halacha. That's a question. The Mishabura says that one could be meko, that it's good if it's tefech lat piach, but not. So somebody happens all the time. Someone washes his hand, they realized he didn't wash enough, so he should wash the whole hand over again. You wash your hand
Because we don't know.
because we don't know. The Rambam says that since the Gemara doesn't know, so it's Rabbanan, you could be lenient. But they say maybe only with the Ever, don't rely on that. So if you could wash the whole hand again, if you wash the second half only, so if the first half was still tefech lat piach, you could make it because the Gemara is a safek about it, then it's Rabbanan, so safek Rabbanan l'kula.
Okay, and everybody agrees if you put one hand in a stream all the way, and then you do the other one with the clean, there's no
That's
problem.
good, right?
Yofi.
Hello.
That's the end of the sugya. Mhm. Okay, well.
So I'll go fix it. Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay. But everything's good. My mother needs me for a minute, so I'll come back. We're stopping over here. And
So does the sugya end at the two gods teku, or is this the end?
it ends even less further than two takers coming. Two more questions. We did 2 out of 4. The Gemara brought 2 examples so far of half questions, and there are 2 more questions coming up, and I'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Are we going further
Okay.
with Gemara or?
Whatever you want to do, I should. Whatever. I shouldn't take. Okay.
Who have a question? Not one question. Not a kosher question.
Do you know anything about Me'ila?
No.
Anybody?
I just don't do it. That's it.
You just don't do it.
Just don't do it.
That's good.
It's not a good. It's taken from kosher.
What?
It's taken from.
It's
hektish.
misappropriating hektish.
Yeah. You're using hektish. or stealing it.
No, not Melissa. I have a Shaila. Melissa with my Rusi. If somebody takes a hektish stone, and they put it on their skyline, and the gizbar, you know what a gizbar is?
Yeah.
Treasure.
Treasure. Money.
He's the treasurer, so what does he have the authority to do? He can, the treasurer of hektish, isn't that what he is, the gizbar?
Oh, you want to say you can take it off again without
So
any
it says that he can take this
stone off
stone,
and take it to the
and
big
he first of all, if he takes it, he didn't do any Me'ila yet. He's the gizbar. So that's what he deals with that. But if he puts it on his aruba, he still didn't do anything wrong. until he sleep, no, until he
Lives
dwells under it for a
Seven Pruta.
Sheva Pruta. So my question is, and then when he dwelt under it, he did Me'ila with this thing, right? So when he did Me'ila with this thing, did the stone still, was it still hektish or did it become fulan?
So Rabbi said yesterday, no, he didn't do kapara yet. He didn't do kapara, it only becomes coolant when person brings the corpse.
Why does it become fulan?
When he said yesterday.
Amazed.
I heard the half question yesterday.
I don't think
He
so.
answered.
He didn't answer yesterday. He said, I don't know. Whatever I asked, he said, I don't know.
Where you go to the same share?
No.
Rabbi said yesterday.
When I asked the question, I thought he said, I don't know.
Did say that. He said that that point.
And
when-
every time you do Ela, it goes out of the matrix.
That's what I thought. That would mean it was in the pool.
But why if you go in on the hectic, you shove it through to your. You hold on Ela. What was the hectic wall?
If you what?
You lean on hectic.
What do you mean lean on? No, it's not like a.
That's also the Ela. No, you're all hectic, you can handle.
Oh, you're getting,
If you
no,
lean on, if you lean on, which is standard.
you used it for your own personal gain. That's Me'ila. And yet the stender is still there. Give it back. Still
Well, okay, so the
hectic.
standard is not a good example, because according to you, I mean, according to that, yes, maybe yes, but. Why the wall all of a sudden doesn't go into hectic, no,
Uh-huh.
I don't know. When you started, I said, I don't know about the Ela, but I'm pretty sure that if you lean on a wall and you have, I know.
I was talking about a wall. So about a beam or
I'm talking about a wall.
a wall that's hectic.
A wall
And you
that-
lean on it, then you.
As far as I know, that's already considered an Ela. If you had Hanoah, which I would put a leaning, I think.
What's the
And I
trouble?
don't think that the wall is gonna go out.
Any amount of time, I think the smallest amount.
I don't think that the wall is gonna be all of a sudden not hanging. I don't know. I don't know if every time.
You don't think that the wall is not gonna be hectic? Or you think it stays hectic?
Yeah.
Even though the guy was Me'ila?
Yeah.
Stays hectic.
Right, and therefore, same thing the stone. If you're taking the stone,
Yeah, okay,
And
that's what
using it.
Caruso was saying, but what I don't understand is.
if you
If
take
he
the
took
stone
it
away and use the stone for some other purpose. Maybe then, actually. goes
So
out.
it says over there, and this is in the comma. Hektish, and he takes it, there's no problem. If he gives it to his friend, he did Me'ila and his friend did not do Me'ila. And there I thought it just that it turned into Kula.
You can finish the Gemara?
Sure.
My mother didn't call me, my wife told me that my mother's heat was on instead of the air conditioner. She wouldn't have called, but.
It was getting hot. It was a hot time in the old town tonight.
Oh, she never changed it over yet.
No, it
Yes,
got
not.
switched by mistake. Pressed the button by mistake.
No, old people don't use it.
Right, of course.
Okay, to the next one, a new case. Another case of half and half, these kind of half questions. Oh, it's, yeah.
Okay.
That's one case. This goes back to Masechet Shabbos we had, if we had learned it, I forgot. Mishnayos and Taurus, maybe. If somebody comes his head and most of his body into drawn water, that's like a bath or something like
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
A regular bath. He becomes tamei. Another
It says-
case,
What do you mean? It says the tahor.
right? Another case. That's case number one. That's this word here, tamei at the end. Like it says two cases. Case number one, bar rosh haruba b'mayim shuvin. Second case, tahor shenaflo al rosh havarubo shlosh luga mayim shuvin. A shower, either bath or a shower. A tahor person that fell on his head and most of his body, 3 lug of water that's drawn, which is about a liter. 3 lug is a liter. So he's tamei. Two cases. The person takes a bath, it becomes tamei. What's the question again? Rashi got tamei.
For taking
And
a
if somebody takes a shower, he becomes tummy.
Yeah.
Why should he become tummy? Because it's Rab Midrabanan. Of course, it doesn't mean he's tummy. Tummy means he can't eat truma. He's possible for truma. Why should that be? The Gemara talks about a stories that they used to have dirty mikvahs, and they used to go into the mikvah because they needed a mikvah, and then he came out dirty, and then he used to take a shower. So people thought that you need the shower for the mikvah. The mikvah is also part of the Torah process, or the mikvah or the shower alone is the Torah process. All kinds of kalkulim that happen. So they said that don't think that the shower is part of the Torah process. And the contrary, the bath, the shower makes you tummy. Not real tummy. It's tummy for truma. One is not allowed to eat truma. So there's such a thing that the person who takes a shower or takes a bath,
He's not.
he becomes tummy.
Meaning he can't eat.
He can't eat truma.
And before he took the shower, he could eat truma.
Yeah. Go to the mikvah, you can eat truma. If you went to the mikvah and then took a shower, some people like to take a shower after the mikvah, right?
Yeah.
You taught us this.
It's 5 to 9 days.
But Rebbe, you taught that in the mikvah, if you take
I do both.
if you do a mikvah and then you shower, so there's a rabbinic tumah.
Yes.
This is what you're talking about.
Yes.
But he goes home and does a shower. And then nafkamina.
So it says here about
I was thinking because it's a simon that if he was in the mikvah and then in the mikvah he goes and showers, it's like he's mezalzel in what he did. But who says it works also when he goes home and does it?
I forgot why it says the word Torah. Torah enough. The difference between the two, Torah enough. I forgot the reason why both of them are Torah. One.
That's right after he went to the mikvah.
And the
Yeah,
other
but then
case
it
is
should
not.
have been-
And the other case is not.
Maybe no, because there's a separation. He goes on.
I remember
It was
it-
rabbinic.
both of them are rabbinic. I forgot why. I think that's the reason. I forgot why it says, but one of them Torah. I'll try to look it up after we finish. But these are two tumas rabbanan that is only for truma. If someone goes to the mikveh, and then he takes a shower, he's not allowed to eat truma. But that's not the difference. They can eat truma. Like there's no reason not to take a shower after you go to the mikveh because you're not allowed to eat truma. When the Beis Mikdash is going to be built, you'll be a kohen, and the kohen is not allowed to take a shower after the
A
mikveh.
woman, if she goes to the mikvah, is allowed to take a shower?
Yeah, l'chorah, there's no problem because
Maybe Bechazal made that
so she's not allowed to eat truma.
Oh, she won't eat truma.
So the person do bring it
Well,
down.
she
The
says that
person
the
do bring it
first
down. I'm
case
not sure why.
is tahor.
No, maybe they're afraid. She'll go to take a shower instead of going to the mikvah.
To make a new takana that Chazal didn't make.
They can hear where it's coming from. A
Okay,
lady
but
makes a mistake.
it's not a new invention, right? So I don't understand it.
They're machmir too.
The machmer
But they-
They take a shower out. Rashi is saying that the first case is that he was tahor.
No one saw that.
Isn't that right?
What?
Rashi says that he was
The
tahor.
both cases are. Why does it say in the second case it says Torah?
I don't know.
That's how that was bothering me. I just
So that's a little bit what you thought about the Rabbi Yehuda?
But this time, we're not talking about the.
That's me.
This is the
We're not talking about.
last thing in Siman Reish Aleph. All the Hilchos Mikvos. ולאחר הטבילה במי מקווה כשרים מותרת להיכנס למרחץ כדי שתסחה מהם עצמו, אבל אף זה ולרחץ אחר כך יש אוסרים, that's the list. So some say that it's also, that's the Ramah, the Ramah is talking, וכן נוהגים. So the Ramah says that it's also to go to a merchatz, לחזור ולרחץ אחר כך, is יש אוסרים. That's the reason, because based on Agomara. And the question is, why should it be a problem? It's only also for Truma. So I'm saying maybe they made that a person shouldn't get
I can
confused.
hear that makes sense.
Maybe.
One could get confused about something.
Okay, that's the place we don't look. The end of Siman Reish Aleph, the last thing in Siman Reish Aleph, that's what the Ramah brings down this halacha. As far as nowadays, women, the Pasha has about Truma, that a person that goes to takes a shower or a bath becomes tummy the Truma. Becomes tummy for Truma. Okay, that's for our purposes, it's enough.
It's like a takana.
Takana Rabbanan Rash is because they used to go to dirty mikvahs and then they washed and they thought they went to the bath, took a shower, and they think that that's part of the Torah process. They might think that's the whole Torah process. There's some questions on that, but that's the Takana Rabbanan. That it becomes.
Why only eating truma is where the nasi is?
That's where they made the Takana. They didn't make him tummy for
Yeah,
chulin.
that's what I'm saying. Why
Okay.
after by that?
Okay. By Yirmiyah. Chetzel b'biyah, v'chetzel b'nefila mai. How about half a bath, half a shower? That he went not Rosh Hashanah, he went only Chetzel,
Oh, so it's below the,
the tumah level. They didn't make him tumah if it's only
Yeah,
Chetzel,
below
but
the shoe.
and each one he did a half. Means that half of his body is in the mikvah.
Here's the one I
Not in
understand
the mikvah, half
most.
his body is in the bath,
and then half
and
a
then the
shower.
top half of him was showering. So either one alone wouldn't be enough, but both of them together would combine to make him tummy. Take
Yeah, here's the shadow.
what the kind of chachamim was.
I mean, it doesn't sound like it's in the ruach of Chachamim, even if it's, you want to just say it's either or, but not half.
That's the question.
That's the
Is it
question.
only if you have a whole one and you don't combine two halves or two halves?
All this is going
The same
back.
thing as cool with the kind of chachamim. Maybe you have to-
No, over here, well, you're gonna help out for the other cases over here. You could say, where did Chazal make you Issa Tuma? You did half here.
That could combine. Half, half,
That's
half,
the
half.
shadow, yeah.
Okay, so cool with the kind of chachamim or cool with B'kiyam Maget. Could you use half it? Could you use half this and half that? Could you use the kind of chachamim for one signature? Maybe only for the whole signature. I don't know.
Remember, he also told us the first time we learned this about 6 months ago, that only if he has, if it washes the ruba, the gufa.
That's what it has to do 2 lines ago. Rosh Hashanah, that's what it says.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's why the question comes up,
I don't
that it's only Rosh Hashanah. Either one, the shower, Rosh Hashanah, here, above Rosh Hashanah, the Maim Shuv, and also Tashnaf Rosh Hashanah. And now the question is, you didn't do Rosh Hashanah, you did half and half. You did half a bath and half a shower.
Which is less than Rosh Hashanah.
Each one is half, it's not Rubo. He only,
Slightly less.
so can you
Is he
combine?
kosher for,
Does he remain Torah the Truma? No, because he had combination of both of these things.
And that's
So that's the take. Do you combine both of these gezeros together?
Oh, they don't know.
And the last one, Amr Papa Amru, Balkeri Cholish, and Asma Lav Tisha Kab and Maim Torah. There's a person's tummy. So you can go to the mikvah, right? Go to the mikvah. There's also not that this is not the thing of test carbon is not something that has to do with regular tumah, but just for the din of Filas Ezra, that a Balkeri, somebody that had an emission, so he shouldn't learn Torah until he goes to the mikvah, or there's a leniency over there of test carbon. It doesn't really make him Torah. As far as everything else, he's tummy. Surely it doesn't help him with any kind of tumah. But for this halacha that he's not allowed to learn Torah or daven, which nowadays that kind of became batal, but people are makbid on it. They tried. So it's a chassidus. It's a chassidus to be makbid on Tfilas Ezra. So the question is, if he's going to retire himself with a combination of both a mikvah or a test carbon. It's either mikvah is mikvah. Test carbon means he throws on himself 9 carbon of water or a shower. Or
Just say he's a chole.
so the Pasha says the cooler of test carbon is only for a sick person, that it's hard for him to go to the mikvah. But there's questions about it. The Gemara talks about if it was an intentional emission or it was an accidental emission, if it was relations or not. So the Gemara talks about that in brachas, but that's not our subject now. There are some times that you're allowed to use test carbon. It says also that if someone doesn't have a choice, he can go to the mikvah. So it's a chassidus also to at least do test carbon. If you can't go to the mikvah, to do test carbon during Corona.
This is
What?
a non-Torah of Allah.
I'm sorry.
So this is a non-Torah of Allah.
He's not.
This is going to be a way of becoming Torah.
Before we say.
Right. Before it was way of becoming Torah. This is way of becoming Torah.
Non-tar.
Before we talked about Torah.
Right. And here, this is a tummy.
The opposite.
That's going to be test carbon, and it's a way of making him Torah. What's going to be that should become Torah for the Truma? It could be a tummy of the Truma. It could be a tummy of the Truma, but it's going to be mutter to learn Torah. I never thought of it.
Maybe it's not kosher for a truma.
Could be.
It sounds pretty halal.
Well, maybe the problem of taking it, maybe the Tisha Kavin is only if
What
it's
do we
after mikvah. If it's not after mikvah, maybe it doesn't matter.
That's what.
I'm trying to explain what.
That's why I have to go back to the
why we
Torah.
say Torah.
Why it said
Why
Torah?
before
No, but
it
in
said
contrast,
Torah.
it didn't say Tabar Rosh of Rubo. It doesn't say Torah. Shabar Rosh. In this Mishnah alone, it's Bolate that it only says Torah by the Naflo. Doesn't say Torah in the first case. I think the one Shabbos page talks about it over there, so I'll look it up right away. But here the case is that a person who's Balkari, he has two ways of becoming Torah. Either he goes to the mikvah or he throws 9 carbon of water on him. And the question is, could you do? Yes.
If he's sick. He's sick, I thought that.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Yeah. And now the question is, could he combine both of these?
And
Half
that's
and
the
half,
take.
half job.
And it's
Or
a
a
take.
papa, take Chetzi B'tfilah v'Chetzi B'Nesinamai. Could he do half of him in the mikvah, and the part that's not in the mikvah, the top half of him is going to put on top of him 9 carbon. Could you combine both of these methods of Tara to use together. Ad kan.
Wow, it's stamped the chachamim. That's a big deal.
What?
It's stumped the chachamim. No, they didn't have an answer. It's a vernacular thing. I mean, it's quite amazing. They didn't come up with something. Didn't come with the conclusion on that.
I'm not sure why you could just take a peek at how many takers there are in Shabbos.
It's impressive. Why am I so excited? I don't know myself, but it's that they couldn't come up with an answer. That's
You have to also look at Tiboy.
what's the boy? That's the boy.
Take in the Dorm language.
321
That's
takers in the Shabbos. 321.
That's not a lot if you look at the whole shots.
That'll be one morning, it'll all be done.
Sure.
How do you want to look at second topics over here? What topic is all this? I think it's just over or something. Get this.
It's like one out of every $10.
But it's not so. It's not often.
We got a couple of cases. Now we ask it to make you a coffee.
You haven't replaced Moshe.
Yeah, make coffee. But now it's coming up with other
Making robots.
My wife tells me that when she needs a letter to be written, she tells them to make.
That the dinner of the bed is only by its full yom. By a bob beyond. And the Torah means even if he's Torah Gomer, enough and that they say, how come? Mashna the Torah law goes with Kim Benopal. Goes with Nami Bebia come up with full yom. That what? That Torah Gomer is only if it took a shower. But by the bed, they was only Bobian, but it means the shower was more matami. The shower matami anybody. And in the bath is only if it's at full yom. The new read the Torah the what's a ligzor yoser eladafka ben fil kmosh v'gil mahapol alei mam shuvim that the original gzera that they used to go into a bed mikvah, they used to take a shower afterwards. So that's the real gzera. Then they only added on because of that. They added on also a bed, so they didn't make that only if he's full yom. And shower they made like Gamri, even if he's a Torah Gomer also, any shower is going to make him come. Yes, you go. Thank you.
Must smell like it had algae.
Yeah, because it was still water. It wasn't like today that they would change the water constantly. A mikvah was a body of water that was a still body of water, rainwater, and it stays there, so it gets mayim smuchim.
And also then they didn't shower before they get into the mikvah.
And nowadays it says do not
Go
into the
mikvah without showering first.
But in other words, the mayim sruchim is still a good mikvah.
It's a kosher mikvah.
A kosher.
Okay, Yashikov, everybody. Sorry for the interruption.
I was asking about, I have one specific question, if you don't mind, about if the Gizbar takes hektish.
I'd have to look it up, but
Okay, well, the case that they gave in the Mishnah that they gave was that he took a stone or a beam,
yeah,
and if he takes it, he didn't do any me'ilah.
because he's the gizmo.
Right. If he built it into his house, he still didn't do.
If he just laid it down.
No, let's say even
If he built it
Tosfos, even if he.
I thought that if you built it in, that it is already considered.
No, because Tosfos brings a case where if it was like a sheet metal or something, and then he took it and made coins out of it, it's considered the concept about that it goes back to its original because you can always melt it down and make it scrap metal again.
So therefore, what?
Lo kone. Because it's not considered like a sheet.
Because it's possible to undo it.
Yeah, so in this case, let's say it's possible to take the beam out. It's still intact. It's just in the house.
Okay,
Or your case, or Shmuel's case, where you can see that it's the same thing because it's just resting on top. He still didn't do Me'ila until he dwells there. So my question is, when he dwelt there, he did Me'ila. And this stone, is it still Hekdesh or not?
so I think there's a concept that when someone's more Hekdesh, then the Kedusha goes off.
And if it goes off, it means it's Chulin?
That, yeah. I mean, he was more, but now it became Chulin. That's a regular concept. When someone's more Hekdesh, then it's just a Chulin.
That's what I thought.
But I don't,
The
the
versus
solution didn't
argument.
agree. So I can try to look it up for you if I,
And it would mean, so in that
no.
case, what would it mean? It would mean he'd have to pay for the beam or the stone plus a fifth.
no, he has to pay for the Mila and that. He has to pay for Mila. The Hekdesh
Is
still
there,
has.
is there, what is it?
That's more back has a problem also, but fact about
The Me'ila, there's a fifth. he has to
that's
pay.
fine. That's all about how much you benefited. But now the object became Kulin and it belongs to Hekdesh still. It belongs to Hekdesh, but
Oh, it belongs to Hekdesh,
but they own Kulin.
but they own, oh, it belongs to Hekdesh, but they own Chulin.
I'll try to, I don't know the details of this. I'll love this.
And do you know if Chulin is less, is it worth more or less than the?
Usually Kulin is worth more because it's
Like Truma.
I think so. But I don't know enough. I'll hold off. I'll try to look it up when I have a chance. Okay, we'll be back with the Siddur in a minute. Well, how time is it
Great.
already? 23, okay, not so long, we'll wait.
Okay,
And the question about after the mikvah, the Ramah says that a woman should not take a shower after the mikvah. Or should not.
That's what that's what the.
Today it's like some problem.
another case they gave was that if he gave it to his
They
friend,
take it at home.
he did Me'ila, but the
Yeah,
friend
Not
didn't.
in the mikveh. That would answer
So
my
it
question.
still belong to the base of Hekdesh?
That's what, I'm not listening, I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel
You heard
comfortable.
that. So did you hear what Rav Nissen said about Rav Nebenzahl about sack on the woman taking a shower out?
That she should not.
Not in the mikveh, but at home.
At home.
So a little bit what I asked you that maybe at the
Oh,
home.
not in the mikvah,
Not in
not
the
at the
mikveh.
mikvah,
Not at the.
but at home. She can take.
Okay, welcome everybody. We're up to the Siddur. And Baruch Hashem Lo Olam Amen V'Amen. And we'll just stop recording over here.